What's up, everybody? Welcome to HollerCast. We're hanging out here. We've got an awesome guest. I'm really excited. I hope you're all doing well. Chase, what's up, man?
It's been a couple weeks, huh?
Yeah, I know.
It's been a couple weeks. We had to cut it down, slim it down just a little bit, make it a little easier during the summer. You know how it is.
Things got a little crazy. I'm glad we've dried out a little bit. It's a little damp there for, a few days, right? I'm so tired of rain.
Yeah, me too.
So tired. I fill my HollerCast mug with rainwater. Not really, but you should buy our mugs.
Oh, goodness. Goodness. You are a shameless marketer.
Yeah, man.
Of our stuff, which I love it. I
love our stuff.
I do too.
High quality. You're drinking some high quality H2 out of this high quality ceramic coffee mug.
Yep.
That is handmade in the furthest reaches of Asia.
Like everything else. That's where they make stuff, dude. That's where they make stuff.
No, really, shophollercast.com. Go buy our merch. It supports this channel, and we've got some cool stuff that I want to do to upgrade the camera work. I was going to talk to you about after the show.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I'm glad. Yeah, remind me.
Okay. We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
But yeah, so we've got an awesome guest. Haley, welcome.
Haley, what's going on?
Oh, not much. Excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
So I was just saying before we started, it's funny, we get the stream of people that we grew up with coming through here. It's so cool to see everybody like grow up and embrace their passions and stuff like that. It's just really neat. It's really cool to have
their hometown.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To see everyone here.
Absolutely. Well, maybe we should take a few moments to thank our sponsors, and then we'll get started with Miss Haley.
Sounds good. HollerCast is proud to partner on our first community fundraising effort, Give Keith a Good Leg to Stand On. Keith Stewart is a member of the community who has had several life-changing medical diagnoses arise this past year. He was diagnosed with stage 3 laryngeal cancer and has had to have his voice box removed as part of the treatment. Also, due to complications with neuropathy, he has wounds that cannot heal and needed a below-the-knee leg amputation. Throughout all this, he stays strong and proud, missing his life of being able to speak and walk. Keith is a kind-hearted soul and has always been a helping hand to others, and now he is in need of a helping hand himself. His savings has been depleted due to the overwhelming cost of the surgeries and medical bills. The funds raised will be used to pay for a prosthetic leg, an electric wheelchair, making his home handicap accessible, as well as a permanent voice box implant. Please visit the link in the description below to donate and help give.
This episode of HollerCast is brought to you by Big Al's Pack and Ship. Located off Roan Road in downtown Spruce Pine, right next to Webb Funeral Home, Big Al's is your full-service shipping solution, shipping out UPS, FedEx, as well as DHL. In addition to shipping services, Big Al also offers copy and fax support, notary public services, and is Spruce Pine's go-to source for U-Haul truck and trailer rental. If you're looking to ship out a package, mention promo code HollerCast at checkout to receive 5% off. Again, that's promo code HollerCast to receive 5% off shipping services. Big Al's Pack and Ship. Make ship happen. This episode of HollerCast is sponsored by Moondust Lounge, Spruce Pine's only dedicated bar room and live music venue. Located at 116 Oak Avenue downtown, Moondust Lounge offers a variety of fun activities for all ages, including weekly karaoke, dance parties, and live music of all genres. Find Moondust Lounge on Instagram or Facebook for a full listing of the week's activities, and mention promo code HollerCast at the bar for 50% off your first beverage. Again, that's promo code HollerCast at the bar for 50% off your first beverage. Go back. We good? Ah, sweet. Right. Awesome. We got a new producer tonight. Mr. Ryder, my son, is helping me out. Say what's up, Ryder. It's a family ordeal over here, isn't it, Josh?
Yep, it is.
Well, Haley, it's awesome to have you here, and we wanted to bring you in. We know you got a lot going on, but I know you have a serious passion for the outdoors and for conservation and things like that. Can you tell us a little bit about Wild South and what that's all about and how you became involved in it?
Yeah, for sure. So Wild South is a nonprofit, and we're located in Spruce Pine. We're actually at the Cross Street building.
Oh, cool.
We've been there for a few years now, but basically we have agreements with the Forest Service to do deferred maintenance and to engage the public on public lands. We work in Limble Gorge, Wilson Creek, Lost Cove, Harbor Creek, Unaka Mountain Wilderness, and on the Nolichucky River.
Gotcha.
As far as I know, we're the only local nonprofit that actually takes volunteers down Whitewater. So we do the Class 4 section from Poplar to Irwin. We do a lot of trash pickups there. And then in the wilderness area, you know, we adhere to wilderness standards. So I try to take groups out there and teach them about wilderness management.
So what you were saying that earlier, like wilderness standards and stuff. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, so in wilderness, there's no blazes. So you're going to go down a trail and not really have directive markers there. You also can't use anything mechanized within a wilderness setting. So if a tree falls blocking the trail, instead of taking chainsaws in there, we go in with crosscut saws. So we do traditional crosscut saw work, a lot of axe work.
Wow. Is that a thing that the Park Service mandates?
The U.S. Forest Service.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep. US
I
Forest
got
Service
you.
mandates
I did not know
wilderness.
that. Did you?
No, I had no idea. So, just out of curiosity, what's the reason for no mechanical?
I think just an experience.
Right.
That's certainly why I, signed on to work with Wild South is because I love wilderness areas.
Right.
It's a lot different than going to a state park where you're going to find, directive signs everywhere, a lot of man-made features.
Right.
You go into a wilderness area, and even though you can tell that someone's out there maintaining it, it should mostly feel untouched.
Right. So how many wilderness zones are around here? I know you mentioned quite a few of them, but
So Linville and Unaka are our wilderness areas. Wilson Creek, Lost Cove, and Harper Creek are all like wilderness study areas. So eventually it probably will be a wilderness area, but right now it's just a study area.
I got you. That's really cool. Yeah, I always wondered why they called them wilderness areas. What was the what was the specific designation?
Yep.
I learn something new every day on this podcast.
Yeah.
People just don't understand, John.
People don't. You don't understand. Okay, people just don't understand.
We find ourselves saying that a lot. We're gonna make a shirt that says "People just don't understand."
You don't know what you don't know.
And I realize I don't understand.
I don't understand anything.
No, me either.
And I love how freeing it is to admit that.
I know, right?
It's amazing because then you don't hold yourself to the expectation of knowing shit. You're like, I don't know, man.
Always be learning. Always be learning. So we grew up with you. We've known you for a long time. So were you, and forgive me if I think back and I don't think back on this, was this something, how did you develop this passion? Was this something you always had?
Definitely growing up in Spruce Pine, certainly, as kids, we were forced outside.
Gotcha.
We didn't have an option other than to go outside. And I was blessed to be born into a very outdoorsy family. So when I grew up, we were always horseback riding and camping and going to the river. So it was just instilled in me in a very young age, to love and appreciate this area. But I think for me, it really took me moving away and coming home to appreciate everything that we had. Because I think I was of the mentality as a young person also that, there's nothing to do here and this place is so boring. And then I moved away to, South Louisiana, 30 minutes outside of New Orleans, where there's everything to do. And I was like, there's no trails. It's too hot to hike. There's no clean water. And so I definitely had a different kind of appreciation for all of that when I came back, and I really honed that in.
Gotcha.
That's cool.
That's a common theme that we hear.
Yeah. See, I moved away to the big city of Johnson City.
Hey, I moved to Australia for a couple years.
Right? Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get back home.
Yeah?
Couldn't wait to get back home.
That's a bucket list destination for
Well,
me.
it's like good Lord, I'm slinging water everywhere already from these summer. Everything's perspiring. But see, I always tell people, I lived in the northern beaches of Sydney when I lived there. Sydney's just one giant city. Even the suburbs, it's a city, essentially. Now I did take some trips up north, into more of the kind of stuff and out and kind of into the outbacks for as much as you can do that feasibly. And I always tell people, they're like, I really want to go. I'm like, don't go to Sydney.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else. Experience the natural beauty. Go to the Great Barrier Reef and all that. And I regret that I didn't do that. I had plans to, but I ended up this one right here. That one happened, and we had to hightail it back. So
wonderful surprise.
exactly. So, So what brought you to Louisiana? You mentioned Louisiana. You mind if I ask you that?
Yeah. So during that stage of my life, I thought that I wanted to go to college for marine biology. And so Nicholls State University in Thibodaux actually took me down there. And then once I got there, I started working for the USDA doing sugarcane research.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I worked basically on a huge sugarcane farm for the USDA for 4 years while I was there.
Don't we already know everything about sugarcane?
Yeah, I guess we know a lot, but we were breeding different varieties.
People just don't understand.
People just don't understand that sugarcane.
Yeah. We didn't make any liquor out of it.
Right.
You know.
I got you. Sugarcane's a big thing in Australia too. You get up kind of into like near the Gold Coast and all. That's all it is. Sugarcane. It's crazy. It's sugarcane as far as you can see.
I grew up farming and doing that here, but man, what a shock when I went to South Louisiana in July and started working in a sugarcane field.
Oh wow!
It was a hard adjustment.
I'm telling you, yeah. You want to appreciate the mountains. Get into down there in the deep South in the middle of the summer, and you'll really be wishing you were back here.
1,000%.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. Well, so if somebody would want to get involved with something like Wild South, you mentioned it was pretty much all volunteer type stuff. Are there any requirements? How can they get involved?
So if they're under 18 years of age, we do have to have a parent sign off a waiver.
Gotcha.
For any kids that want to participate in our programs. Or we like to have a parent present, if they're younger than that. If they can drive, if I can get a parent signature, that's fine. But if they're younger, we need, parental supervision.
Sure, absolutely.
Because I do not qualify for that. But otherwise, no, there's really no requirement. Sometimes we are going deep into the woods carrying heavy equipment, right? So when we do like a big tree removal, we're carrying crosscut saws and axes and wedges and heavy backpacks. So you have to be physically fit enough to get several miles into the backcountry.
Sure.
But aside from that, a lot of things that I do are roadside. I do sadly, a lot of graffiti removal.
I was going to ask you about that, actually.
Yeah. Sure.
So really no physical requirements for any of that. You just, have to be willing and wanting to help. That's really it.
Right, I got you. Yeah, I've seen you post about that 1,000 times with the graffiti removal. Is that really that prominent?
It is. Yeah. It's everywhere there's a rock. So most recently, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Unaka Mountain.
A little bit.
So if you keep going, if you go up Unaka and you keep going past the beauty spot, eventually you'll come to the Unaka Mountain Overlook. So I just worked on a project with Sabelco. Actually, I got them to donate some boulders there to keep people out of an area where they were driving vehicles where they shouldn't have been. But they graciously donated us some boulders and came and set them up for us. But those already have graffiti on them. And that was just like a month ago that we did that.
Right.
So now we'll be going back in a couple of weeks to, remove the double booster rockets is what I call them.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
Just little boys. No offense. It's young men mostly because I don't know any woman that would go in and just, paint penises on everything.
Yeah, draw like a wiener. That's what young boys do. Just draw wieners
on everything. On everything.
Wieners on everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I had a buck for every time I drew a wiener when I was old to make my friends laugh, or younger, when to make my friends laugh, I'd be a very rich man.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't draw the wieners much.
See, Josh,
never did.
We call them double booster rockets.
Double booster
rockets.
I was a big wiener drawer. I don't know. What did I scribble on things when I was younger? Oh, the S, the weird S.
Oh, yeah. I did that all the time.
You know what I'm talking about? The diamond.
Yeah,
the 3 lines. You connect them. Oh, yeah, I did.
What the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
What is that?
I think it's just a cool little thing.
I find myself when I'm doodling, sometimes I still will do that.
Oh, I do too. I do all the time when I'm on the phone if I'm talking to somebody else.
We find out it's like some kind of Illuminati symbol.
Yeah, exactly. You ever found one of those on a rock?
No, haven't. Lots of so-and-so loves so-and-so all over the place.
Sure.
We had a tag at Wiseman's View, actually, on the bottom of the rock overlook.
Oh, really?
Someone tagged the cliff right below it. It was so big, you could see it from Table Rock.
Oh,
it was like bright yellow and blue and the most hideous electric colors. Yeah.
How do you even get down there to tag that?
So we were able to walk around.
Oh, really?
We had to set up really good safety, which my director and myself were both members of search and rescue. So we're pretty good at rigging things and, following safety procedures. But we just, went around it and we used elephant snot actually on that trip to remove that graffiti.
Really?
It's just like, they call it elephant snot. It's just this goo that basically you lather on it and
Gotcha.
have to.
Yeah, I was going to ask how you do that without using like caustic chemicals and stuff like that.
It depends where we're at, what we use. If we're in the backcountry, we have to backpack in elephant snot. It's really the only way. If we're near a water source, we use a recycled sand.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Out there, and use like a high pressure power washer to
Right.
blast it off.
I got you. I got you.
It would be cool if you could rig up some kind of spray nozzle with a pump going into a can of paint that would sense paint being sprayed on the area, so it would paint the perpetrator back.
Exactly. That'd be really
Like one
cool.
of those boxes that people set up at their front door
Yes.
to
Yes.
someone steals it.
Yeah, the glitter box.
Yeah.
Only instead of a glitter box, it's a paint stream. Sorry
Yeah.
about your luck, buddy.
Exactly.
If you figure out how to do that, let me know.
It stencils a
That would be
wiener on them.
It's like a wiener
Right on their
forehead.
forehead.
That's pretty good.
That would be great.
Hey,
They
I'm
would
full-
deserve that
Full
for
of
sure.
ideas over here.
Guys, quit tagging rocks with wieners, man. Come
For
on.
real.
And
Like-
everybody knows you love that girl. Chances are you won't love her 5 years from now.
No.
Just quit doing that.
Ryder, put the camera on me. Put the camera on me. I want to say something. You're the reason we can't have nice things.
It's your generation.
The people who tag things are the reason we can't have nice things around here.
You know, you all laugh about that not having nice things, but in a lot of ways it is true because so much money and resources go to removing that. It's amazing how expensive one of those graffiti days, ends up being.
I'm sure.
Just a bucket of sand is $50 per bucket, and a lot of times we're using a dozen and more buckets just to remove
Jeez.
Wow.
one tag.
Wow.
Think about all that money could be sunk back into actually maintaining and
Yep.
doing cool stuff. Yeah.
Our last graffiti removal was at Elk River Falls, and it was a training day for the Forest Service, so they came out and we trained them on our procedure of how we do it, and there were probably 10 to 12 personnel there that day, all salaried people, all getting paid, expensive products to remove it. It was an expensive work day just to go in and remove that little rocket off the rock.
Wow.
That's so awful, man. Man. So you guys work real close with the Forest Service, huh?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So our agreements go through the Forest Service. So
I got you.
we have an agreement that we sign every few years with them to do the work that we do. So we're covered under their insurance. So anytime we have a work day, all my volunteers have to sign a waiver through them for each individual work day.
Sure.
Just to make sure that we and they are all covered.
That's awesome. Wow. That's really good. So how did can you give us a little bit of a background on how Wild South was originally founded and how it came about?
Yeah, so back in the day, probably 30 years ago, there was a conservation organization in Asheville called the Southern Appalachian Biodiversity Group. And then there was an organization in Alabama called Wild Alabama. And both of them were struggling and having a hard time sustaining because, like most nonprofits, we rely a lot on grants and also private donations. So that's 100% how we're funded, is through private individuals and grants that we obtain.
Wow.
And they were struggling and decided to combine forces and work together, and they called it Wild South. And originally it was housed in Asheville. And then in 2019, I came on as operations coordinator and talked to our board and convinced them to move our office up to Spruce Pine.
Nice.
Because,
Nice.
a lot of times what you find in these areas, especially with nonprofits, whenever you think that they are conservation, that's kind of a scary word to a lot of people. You get these small towns and communities that feel like this organization is going to come and almost disinherit them from an area of land that they've known and explored and used their entire life. So I didn't want, Asheville has, and I have my own opinions of Asheville, but Asheville just has, a certain demographic there as far as conservation organizations that have really gotten a bad rep with these rural communities.
Right.
And so I didn't want to be involved in that.
Right.
Didn't want to be associated.
Well, and I was actually going to ask you that. It's a good segue into this. So, we've heard a lot about that guy from Epic Games that's buying
Tim
a lot.
Sweeney.
Yeah, Tim Sweeney. I had the pleasure of meeting the guy randomly one time. But anyway, told that story one time on the podcast. But, I know a lot of people like just like you said, a lot of people are concerned about that. I've heard it numerous times, especially over around Bakersville and areas like that where he's buying up large swaths of land.
Yes.
I'm curious as to what you think about that and what you would say about that.
I think if it is used the way that it has been promoted that it's going to be used, it will be a good thing. I think there's a lot of things that, in the meantime of waiting for the vision to come to fruition, there's a lot of things that are frustrating. I saw on some page on Facebook where someone was complaining about they had went to this certain tract of land that he had purchased and had a note on their car saying that they couldn't park there, that it wasn't open to the public. So I don't know exactly what they're doing on that specific tract of land, if they're trying to make improvements or if they're doing surveys where they don't need people in there right now. But I know that would be really frustrating when it's, kind of been in your backyard and you've been using it your entire life, and then someone comes in and gives it to this organization to make it public land, and then they're closing you off of it.
Yeah, sure.
So that's why I definitely wanted to put us in Spruce Pine, and I'm glad that I get to be kind of the face of the organization here locally to assure people that, we're not that kind of organization. We do things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And to also just give someone local that they feel that they can reach out to and,
Absolutely.
talk about questions and concerns. And, the Forest Service is actually pretty good about putting items out for public comment, their management plan and what's going to happen, and, just being a resource for people if they have questions or want to add input to any of those management plans.
Nice.
Yeah.
How would somebody go about getting, if they had a concern about that, how would they go about getting, what's the easiest? Because I know the federal government sometimes is not easy to communicate with.
No, but anytime they're doing something like that, they will put out their plan for public comment, and there's always a link of who to contact.
Okay, great.
To put your comments in.
Awesome. And where do you find that? On their website?
It would be on their website.
I got you.
Yep.
I got you. So, have you met Tim?
I have not met Tim Sweeney. I know his land managers.
Right. I got you.
But I've never met him personally.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Like I said, I've just heard it from a lot of people, and I don't really. Personally, I think it would be. What are they planning on doing with it?
So,
do you know? I mean, do you have a sense?
Not really. Truth be told, what I was originally told is that, he had a vision of connecting Roan Mountain, Grandfather Mountain, and Mount Mitchell through a trail system, which would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
But I don't really know the plan of how that's going to happen, or
I got you.
Details of that vision.
Well, you got to appreciate some guy who's willing. He's obviously made. I mean,
sure.
Good Lord, Fortnite's the biggest game in the universe.
Oh, I know,
and has been for some time. You have to appreciate the guy. Putting money into something like that. But I think I hope that it's community. I think a lot of times people like that, they start down roads with good intentions, and it's things like just poor communication that really are the stumbling block for their efforts. You know what I mean?
Well, either that or it becomes corporatized,
right?
And it gets wound up in some kind of corporate red tape,
right? So is he giving it to the Forest Service or putting it into a conservancy?
Yes, usually Southern Appalachian Highlands Conservancy is my understanding of the people that are getting the majority of the land. Okay. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah. I don't want to put you on the spot about it. Not like you. I'm just asking you because I don't know anything about it.
Similar to the work that I do, that's a completely different wheelhouse, and I don't really know the ins and outs of it. Sure. But that also goes back to the communication. It would be really nice to have more information on it. I think a lot of those individuals feel like those that should know do, but I think the general public, it'd be nice to have more.
It's like you say, there people, when you've lived in a place for, you're talking not just one person, you're talking generations of people, and they've been using certain tracts of land, and then all of a sudden it's swept out from under you, or it's just in question even what's going to go on with it. These are. You got to realize mountain people play in these mountains too.
Well, and it's our culture too. Is we've kind of the mountain people kind of have that distrust.
They do
of people from you ain't from around here. What you doing on our land, kind of thing. Right. There's that distrust there. So maybe they need to hire somebody to do some PR for them and like you said, communicate better.
I think that would help.
Yeah.
I think good communication is key in anything you're trying to do, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
So, You ever see Bigfoot out there?
No, I haven't.
You sure?
I'm pretty
What about
sure.
the Loch Ness Monster? No
That
messy?
I would be really excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here she travels.
Yeah.
Yeah. She vacates here every now and then.
So what are your favorite spots?
For what?
Just in general. Like let's start with hiking. What's your favorite hike?
So.
Wilderness hike.
Oh, okay. Wilderness specific. I love Rattlesnake Ridge in Eureka Mountain Wilderness.
Yeah.
So you can start either at Rock Creek Park, just outside of Irwin there, or you can start at the top of Unaka at Unaka Mountain Overlook and go down Rock Creek or Rattlesnake Ridge, and it connects into this area called Dick Creek, and there's a lot of really amazing waterfalls there, and it's really... Stop giggling.
I only giggled because he
Ryder.
giggled.
That's the
Ryder.
name.
Yeah. That's the only reason I giggled.
I don't like it because it's named that.
Right.
It's just really pretty, okay? It's a really unfortunate name, but it's a really pretty area.
Right.
I've seen worse. There's a place called PP Creek.
So are there a lot of rattlesnakes there? Is that why it's called?
Supposedly,
Really?
that's why it's called Rattlesnake
That sounds
Ridge, but I've
just
never
like-
seen one there. But I see a ton in Wilson Creek.
Really?
Oh
Really?
my goodness. Huge.
I love rattlesnakes.
So I guess he told you
Yes.
he's a big snake
I love
guy.
snakes.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
Well,
snakes.
go to Wilson Creek, then
Yeah.
you'll see all kinds.
I rescued a copperhead the other day and relocated it.
Gosh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where'd you take that thing out of
Good on you.
curiosity?
Way up on the parkway out in the
really?
wilderness. Yeah. Yeah, I let it.
That's not wilderness, but
Yeah, well, it is for a snake that's this big. That's a lot of wilderness for a tiny little snake.
No.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, let me get back to my favorite spot.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, we
Jeez,
interrupted.
Ryder. No, but it's beautiful. It is a beautiful area. Okay, despite the name, it is gorgeous there
Gotcha.
and certainly worth exploring. And it's also, I hope it's mostly local people listening to this because it's really underused as far as hiking. And it's
Yeah.
not like going to the top of Roan Mountain where you're going to,
Right.
park a mile down the road on the side of the road
Right.
now to go.
That's
So.
exactly what I'm getting at. I want to know some
man.
spots that are cool because, if you've lived here for any amount of time and you do any hiking, chances are you've probably been to the same spots 50,000 times.
Yeah.
So-
And for those that love Roan Mountain, I would say if you park at Carver's Gap, go across the other side. Don't start at the Bald. Start on the AT and hike up to Cloudland.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful hike, and not a lot of people do that either.
Right.
Where you'll have 1,000 people around Bald one day, there will be no one on the other side of the mountain.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
I go up there a lot too.
Yeah, and you do photography as well, right?
I do. Yeah. I still own a little company called Appalachian Exposures.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing some stuff for Spring Maid Mountain right now.
Nice.
So, yeah, I took all their photos for their cabins and all that a couple years ago, and they've done some renovations and updates. So I'm doing some updated photography for them.
That's awesome.
Love
I
Spring
love
Maid.
that spot. I used to work there when I was in high school.
Yeah, you did. I remember that.
I was
Yeah.
a trail guide. I loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you you ride horses out in the
I used
backcountry
to.
at all?
So I actually partner with a group called the 423 Trail Riders. They're out of Tennessee, and they do a lot of backcountry work. And so I've started partnering with them to do some days, and they have put me on a horse. to go back.
Nice.
Yeah.
We actually
Very
built, it's in Mitchell County, but we just built a new hitching post at Shinbone Rock. So it's above the Nolichucky Gorge. It looks over Rooster Tail Rapid. It's a 12-mile trip, so 6 miles out, 6 miles back usually on a Forest Service road. Equestrian riders love it. Trail runners, hikers, hunters, everyone uses it. So it's nice that they have a
Oh, yeah.
hitching spot down there.
That's
now.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I wondered about that, and I've honestly thought, we get a lot of people. Obviously, when you start something like this, you hear all the ideas that people have, and the one I haven't heard is the horseback riding stuff.
Yeah.
And my oldest boy was involved in it for a pretty good long time, and I think stuff like that would be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not a big horse guy myself. I'm allergic to them, unfortunately, but I think that's really cool. I'd love to be into horses. I just can't.
I used to love riding. I rode every day, obviously. It was, I hadn't been on a horse in, probably like 15 years when I
Really?
went on with them the other day. It's like, I remember how to do this, I think. I will say it was really nice just showing up and getting on someone else's horse,
Right.
and not
Sure.
having to load it and unload and do all the tack. And
It's a lot of work.
It was nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. My little girl asked me, I want to get a horse. I'm like,
Yeah.
honey, I won't get a dog, much less a horse. You think a dog's bad, dude? Try a horse, man.
Just take her to Spring Main.
Yeah, exactly.
They got
That's what you
plenty.
need to do. There's a lot of cool equestrian stuff around here. My oldest went out to the Appalachian Therapeutic Riding Center out in CeeLo for a while, and and there's another lady that does a camp out what is that? Where am I building that house? Jesus. Oh, I can't think. Anyway, it's up right outside of Spruce Pine, but I've always thought stuff like that would be cool. I'm curious as to your thoughts, because like I mentioned, you get a lot of people wanting to incorporate, talk about big talks, the town's growing. Obviously, everybody's jumping on board. I don't want to get into the weeds into that, but I'm curious as to your thoughts about how you connect Spruce Pine more to that type of thing, to the outdoors, because obviously, I mean, that's our biggest draw is outdoor stuff. What do you think about like tubing down the river, pro up in the kayak thing, stuff like that? I mean, do you have any good thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows about greenways and knows what a greenway is, but a trending thing is blueways. So there's a lot of municipalities now that, in addition to having maps of their greenways, also have maps of their blueways. Actually helped Yancey County create a map a few years ago for this, and they listed all their put-ins and their takeouts, and what class of whitewater it was through there, if you could tube it or kayak it. And I think that's an important piece of it, is just having people understand what to expect when they go. What level of whitewater are they going to be expecting? Can they tube it? Should they kayak it?
Sure.
So putting that on a map for them, and I think that's a great resource for
I would
communities.
love to see. I know that it's difficult. I've been told that CSX has a grip on that sort of area down there, but we have to fix that problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, we do.
We have to.
So I was doing a cleanup in the Nolichucky Gorge, right? So 8 miles of class 4 whitewater. The first 6 of that are in Mitchell County, by the way. Everyone associates the Nolichucky Gorge with Tennessee.
Right.
That is our baby, 1,000%. Yes.
Wow.
The first 6
I did
miles.
not know that.
Yeah, most people don't. They just think
didn't.
Nolichucky Gorge, and they think Irwin,
People just don't understand.
because that's where the outfitters are. They
Yep.
you don't know what you don't know. Right? But I tried to work with CSX on a project there, because there's old rail wheels in the river and train track in the river. And so in order to work with anyone there, you have to go through the Jacksonville office, which is a real pain. But I tried to get them to work with us on a cleanup when they, have one of their train cars going down there to, let us put trash in the back of their train cars. That way we're not putting metal in these rafts.
Right.
Not a great combination, sharp metal and inflatable rafts. And I was told that if I could prove that it was their trash in the river, that they would help us.
Wow.
Well, I don't know anyone else that
Where
has.
the hell does the...
Right. I sent her pictures of railroad track and train pieces in the river. Now I was told to prove that it was CSX equipment, and then they would help us.
See,
Wow.
that's got to change.
Yeah.
That's got to change. I was always told the Norfolk Southern was the third rock of the railroad, but CSX, I know those things, those companies are hyper.
Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic.
I mean, you want them to be your friend if you want to get anything accomplished, but I
Yeah.
try to be friendly with them, and I got nothing done, so I'm going to tell on them. They
Yeah.
wouldn't work with us.
I don't blame you. I don't blame
Yeah.
you. We'll put a little people's feet to the fire a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's
That's what you gotta
unfortunate
do.
because it's not the local people. There's nothing, you can't go downtown and get them to help you with anything. They have to direct you to the Jacksonville office. So, kind of unfortunate situation.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate situation. But we've got, I still say that we have to reach out and do that and figure out a way. In my humble opinion, you need to be able to see that river.
Yes.
From downtown.
Yes.
I mean, I'm talking Lower Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the buildings that are on Upper Street, like the Moon
Yep.
Dust, the back porch of the Moon Dust Lounge, and right there at Live Oak Gastropub, you need to be able to look over there and see that river. I mean, and I know it sits off kind of off the bank down there, but that needs to be a greenway of some sort,
Yep.
in my opinion.
I think having a greenway there would be nice, but then you also run into things of, you can't clear by a river because you have to keep the stream shaded, for habitat.
Right. I wonder if it could be managed responsibly though. Like maybe you could just click, because I mean right now it's just jungle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, we have the Riverside Park, that's a great opportunity to extend that walkway. And that's actually in the plan. So you're talking about the future of, this area and, connecting people to outdoors. Eventually, downtown Spruce Pine will connect to the Blue Ridge Parkway, which will connect to Linville Gorge, which will connect, the OBTA all the way to Kings Mountain, which can also connect to the MST and take everyone to the coast from Spruce Pine, which is pretty cool,
Yeah.
I mean, all the trail systems obviously aren't built and in place yet, but it's well on its way.
Well, and it's funny you mention that, because one of the things that we've been talking about doing, we've been missing Jimmy a little bit here and there, but we've been looking at the DOT transportation plan, like the comprehensive transportation plan for what they've got. I mean, you're talking a look, 20, 30, 40 years into the future. And that's very interesting, because it sort of gives you a glimpse of what the state really thinks about.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is.
It's wild.
I've read over it quite honestly, but I'm sure the Forest Service does the same exact thing.
Yeah.
They're planning way into the future. And I know even in the DOT plan, it mentions, it talks about trails, biking. I mean, they're just to give a little preview, they're going to expand 226 from the Parkway to Spruce Pine, and also incorporate a bike trail and a walking path along with it. Like that's something that it states many times in there, that type of stuff is growing. We need to accommodate it. So
1,000%.
I'd be interested to look at the Forest Service plan for the next. That'd be really cool.
So it's by section generally. So you got to look it up by forest. So if you want to know what's happening in Unaka, you would look up the Cherokee plan. If you want to know what's happening in Linville, you would look up Pisgah.
Is that available online? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really cool. That's really cool. So favorite lookout, favorite view, favorite view.
Favorite view in general of all views?
Maybe not of all views, of this area views.
I really love Grassy Ridge. So if you go up on Roan Mountain and you go out past Round Bald and Jane Bald and all of that, you'll end up at Grassy Ridge if you fork off of the Appalachian Trail. At the very end of that, the rock cliffs there, especially when the rhododendron are in bloom, is beautiful.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Very iconic to this area too, very recognizable.
Right.
As Roan Mountain, which Jane Bald is also, but I feel like that area is a little too overused and abused for me now.
Yeah, for sure.
But
there's a lot of people up there this time of year.
It's insane.
I'm like,
it is completely out of control.
It's so wild.
And it hurts from a management standpoint, because you want people to use it, right? Because as long as they use it, then there's a need for you to manage it. But trying to deal with that overuse has become a real problem. But Wild South, we're working on a grant right now to hopefully employ a youth crew next season. So I'm hoping to have around 4 or 5 local, enthusiastic young individuals that we can employ to go out and start doing some of this trail work. So hopefully that comes to fruition for next season.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it would be so great. And I'd love to give more local kids an opportunity, to get their foot in the door with the Forest Service and realize that, there's more ways to make a living here than working in healthcare or in a mining corporation.
There are.
So Timothy Westfair's in the comments. He said y'all should describe the difference between those public agencies. I think he's talking about the Forest Service, the Park Service, all those agencies. Can you kind of give an overview? Because I honestly get confused about that too.
So the Park Service would be like the Blue Ridge Parkway. U.S. Forest Service is national. So they manage U.S. Forest Service lands. So it's basically just who owns the land. So in public lands, I describe it as a tripod, which y'all understand because you do photography, right?
Sure.
It's like a 3-pronged system. So you have the public, you have the land that they're managing, and the managing entity, which for me is the Forest Service. So I describe Wild South as like the anchor. On tripods, you set them up, and then, a 3-pronged system is pretty unsteady. If wind or anything comes a certain direction, it can knock it over and dismantle the whole thing. So I describe Wild South as like that anchor that comes in between them and kind of works as the liaison between the land, the public, and for us, the Forest Service, and helping that everyone gets what they need, right? That the Forest Service isn't overwhelmed, the public isn't, the land isn't overwhelmed, but the Park Service and all those agencies are very much like that.
Yeah.
But the way that they manage is a little bit different.
I've lived here my whole life, and I really
had no idea.
Understand that to be. I figured the Park Service probably did parks, and then the Forest Service did. But
that's correct. And what you're going to find in each of those environments is very different, right? So, like with the Park Service, you're actually going to find those recreational, venues like picnic tables and trash cans and, flushing toilets and those things. Most of the time with the Forest Service, what you're going to find is maybe a vault toilet, maybe a concrete picnic table, but mostly more like wilderness kind of areas.
Is that what those are? Are they composting toilets?
No, it's just like,
kind of.
It's like a porta-john in the ground.
I saw where I went up to Wiseman's View last year, and I saw where they'd put one up there.
That's been there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I never recognized that.
That's been there a long time.
I guess it has. Jeez.
Whenever I used to promote that area, they had it listed as like a picnic area. And I had to go in and make sure that I put primitive picnic area because everyone thought they were getting like a park.
Right.
Picnic area, with flushing toilets and all of that. And it's like, no, that's not what you're going to get on Forest Service lands.
Yeah, I think people that head out there, they, we did an episode on the Brown Mountain Lights. I don't know if you saw that. But, man, when you head out to Wiseman's View, certain times of year, if there's been some heavy rain, you better bring a four-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah.
Because that's rough. It gets a little rough out through there,
Yeah. And the Park Service, too, is in the business of making money in some ways. Like, they're also the ones that will have visitor centers and, like, the gift shops along the parkway and all that. Whereas the Forest Service won't have those things. No. The Forest Service isn't in the business of making money.
Right. It's conservation.
Yes.
And, management. Yeah. Gotcha. So, anything, I wanted to say this. You mentioned rhododendrons being so, iconic to this area. I was talking with somebody the other day and talking about the hemlocks. It's so sad to me.
Yeah.
So sad to me because when I think of like this area, if I had to think of a tree, I think of a hemlock.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you have any background or any knowledge on all that stuff?
Not very much. I know that occasionally some of my partners will work with, they call him Mr. Bug. I don't really know who he is. He's some like PhD from somewhere that has all the beetles that they release to kind of combat that. Right. But no, I don't really work with that specifically. Yeah. What I'm mostly focused on is like spruce restoration on Unaka. Yep. So that's something that we're working on, but I don't do anything with the hemlocks.
Gotcha. Somebody told me, and I thought that's really a good point, that they're bringing back the American hemlock now, or the American chestnut. Sorry, yeah.
So that's actually our logo. Right?
Really?
It's the chestnut
leaf.
leaf.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah, it is a chestnut leaf, isn't it?
It was such a an iconic symbol of Appalachia for so long before blight took it away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's our symbol.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Kind of represent Appalachia.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do we have any chestnuts growing around here?
Not big ones, not like they were in 1904 before the blight took over, 200, 300 feet tall and 8 feet wide. No, golly. We don't have anything like that anymore. But there are some. Yeah, there's some out near the Nolichucky where I manage. We have them marked, study them for growth and all of that. But
it's hard for me to imagine a tree of that size here.
Right?
Like, that's crazy.
I know.
I can't fathom that. When I look at those pictures, I'm like, that doesn't even, like, where's the stump?
Right.
Yeah.
I want to go find a stump.
Yeah.
I would assume they probably have all rotted away
now.
I'm
sure
That's what I would imagine.
Right.
I don't know. I've never seen a huge chestnut stump anywhere I've
God,
been.
that would be great. But you see those pictures, man. It looks like they're cutting down a redwood.
Redwoods, yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? If you just had one of those, like, just across the street, 200 or 300 feet tall? That's wild, man. That is crazy. But somebody made the point to me that I was inquiring because I know what they've done with the chestnut is they've crossbred it with like an Asian chestnut and then bred the Asian back out, right?
Well, because the Asian is the reason we don't have the American chestnut to begin with, right? They brought those into New York back in the early 1900s, and that's what originally calls it the blight.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
That's my understanding. Fact check me. Don't believe anything I say. Look it up, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
Wow.
This person told me I was asking. I was like, well, I wonder if they could do that with a hemlock or something because I know it's not a blight. It's a aphid. It's a insect of some sort.
Well, that's why they have all the beetles that they release to eat it.
Really?
Right? Yeah. So that's how they combat that. That's why they call that dude Mr. Bug because he has all the bugs.
Oh,
do the stuff.
I see.
Yeah.
I see what you doing. I see what
I
you're
don't know
saying.
his name. I feel so bad.
Right.
I feel like that man has been
Mr.
like
Bug.
such a rock star for helping him lots, and I have no idea what his name is.
Okay, so
Maybe
where-
someone else will know
Where
who
do the
Mr.
stink
Bug
bugs
is.
come from? That's what I want to know. I have a personal vendetta against the
Do you
stink
guys
bugs.
ever remember those when we were kids
No,
being here?
they weren't here.
Yeah,
I don't think.
no,
No, I've eaten one. It's not pleasant.
on purpose.
No,
No.
absolutely not. And so I have a personal vendetta against
Like,
the
did you
stink
dip it in
bug.
chocolate? Because then maybe.
Well,
you
it
know.
was with some chocolate. Yes, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, it crawled into
Ew.
a bag of candy that I had that was opened, and I just killed the bag of candy in my mouth and chomped down on a stink bug. And you know the
I don't even want to.
the stink bug flavored jelly bean I ate the other day up at Danny's. Nothing like a real stink bug.
No?
No, nothing
It
at all.
doesn't taste like cilantro?
No, it does not.
I always
It did not.
figured that about those because like part of me was always like yeah, no way they actually like
Taste like they smell.
Yeah.
That's not what they actually taste.
It is. It
No.
is. Yeah. It tasted like I ate a fistful of cilantro all at one time.
Really?
Yeah, with a couple of Cadbury eggs in there.
Ugh.
It was super unpleasant.
If it tastes anything like it smells, then I don't like it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I
You know,
don't.
I've never smelled a stink bug.
Don't
like
recommend
I see
it.
them,
How?
but I don't know.
Only reason
Never
we
smelled
did.
one.
The only reason we did is because we had a house. We lived in Swananoa, and we had a house that had cedar shakes on it. For whatever reason, they're really attracted to cedar.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had other people. I don't know this for 100% fact, but I've had other people that have like cedar shakes and siding on their house that have told me the exact same thing. But oh man, that house was covered in them. I mean, it was just insane. And so you couldn't help. During the summer, it was like you go outside and they'd just be a pile of them there you step on. You know, they're becoming almost like ladybugs.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think they're necessarily harmful to the environment, are they?
I don't know the answer.
I
to
have
that.
no clue. Absolutely they are, because I ate one and it was terrible.
They're harmful.
They're
to your
harmful to
taste
my
buds.
environment.
Yeah. I know that we're talking about the Joro spider now is beginning to make its way up. It's already in Georgia and in South Carolina. Dude,
Yeah.
we're talking like as big as a cell phone.
Oh, that's awful.
Ah,
I would freak out.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen some wolf spiders before that were pretty large, but if I saw anything the
Right.
size of a cell phone, I would.
I've owned a couple of tarantulas. They're
Oh,
meh.
goodness.
I'm not a. I don't know. They're kind of boring. They're just like a. I don't know. They're just like.
yeah.
That's all they do.
A Joro spider is something crazy. I'll show you.
So how venomous are they?
They're not venomous at all. They're completely harmless, but they're just
Really?
giant. Yeah, they're. I think they're from. I think like Southeast Asia. Look at that.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah,
Actually,
they're
it
bright
looks
green.
like banana spiders, really.
Yeah, they look.
Can I pull that up on the desktop?
Yeah, sure. If you want to. Why not?
Sure.
When I worked in the
Joro.
sugarcane field
Joro.
in Louisiana, Louisiana sugarcane leaves are really sharp and they'll cut you. So you have to
Yep.
wear long sleeves. You have to cover basically all your skin to walk through them. You have to walk with your hands up like this so it doesn't cut your face, the leaves.
Wow.
And man, banana spiders would make nests like right in the middle of all those rows. And it was just like walking into dental floss.
Yep.
The webs were so thick. It was disgusting. Because you couldn't see where you were going because you're blocking your face so it doesn't get cut. And I would walk into them all the time. It was awful.
Oh, that's
Bad.
terrible.
Yeah, I thought
I've
so.
went through orb weaver spider webs before mowing. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, those are bad.
Yeah.
Boy, those things are everywhere in the fall,
They
aren't
are.
they? Goodness
Man, they
gracious.
hurt. I've been bitten twice by them, and they hurt. Holy
Really?
hell, do they hurt? Yeah, yeah. One, I was mowing, and I drove through its web, destroyed its home, which I would have bit me too.
Right.
You know, but yeah, it wound up on me, and I didn't see it, and it got me like right in the bend of the knee underneath. It was like a pretty bad bee sting. It hurt pretty badly. The second one was on the neck.
You ever been bitten, stung?
I mean, I get stung all the time, but I can't remember being bitten by a spider in a long time.
Really?
Gosh, I've been snake bit, spider bit. Like,
I'm lucky to not be bit very much.
Yeah, thank God.
There was like this one time, I remember I was like in the.
Pull that microphone up to you so everybody can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
actually, you may have to turn the volume up on it because I turned it down when I was using the air conditioner.
Right here.
Yeah.
It's there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like back when, like, a couple of years ago, like when we first when like we first moved into this house, or like the house we're in now, like I went out to like that forest and like, I don't know where, I guess it like a bunch of bees or just like felt like hating people that day. Like, they were, like really mad. Like I made it. Like I was just like walking through there, and there's like 5 billion bees. Just like
they swarm, man. They swarm.
Exactly.
They'll get you. It's probably hornets. Hornets will get you and chase you. That's the problem with them.
Do not like bees. I'm allergic to bees, though.
Really?
Yeah.
So any eclectic animals you've seen? Black panthers, mountain lions, chupacabras.
You know the animal that took me by surprise the most in all of my hiking? I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I was hiking on Rome Mountain. Mm-hmm. I was going out toward the bluff, right, the other side of the road to stay away from the people. And I saw this little animal on the trail, and I had never seen it before. I was like, what is this? You know? And I started looking, and it was eating a mouse in the middle of the trail. I actually have it on video somewhere. I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah, I would
I
love
was
to
like,
see that.
did someone let their ferret out of their house?
It was a weasel.
Yeah. I'd never seen a weasel in real life, and I was so confused by what it was for a minute.
I think I've only ever seen like one weasel in my entire life, and it's weird. You don't see them very often.
You don't see them at all, and I think that was probably the one that took me most by surprise, was seeing that little weasel on Rome Mountain, which is so ridiculous. But I
mistook a fox for a dog one time.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know it. I didn't know it was a fox until it started bounding around and playing and going crazy like they do, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not. I don't think that's a domesticated dog.
I would love to have a pet fox.
I just rescued one like a
Really?
few months ago.
Isn't, like,
there was
foxes like a variety of dog, or is that?
They are. They're part of the canine family, I think. Yeah.
You know, like how like tigers are related to cats or whatever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I just figured that. Not sure though.
True.
Okay, continue.
So weasel, fox. You ever seen a mountain lion?
Yes, but not here.
Really?
Yeah. I saw one in Utah when I was hiking out there.
Oh, wow.
Actually, it was pretty scary, but
So you work with the Forest Service. Forest Service says they don't exist here. Do they exist here? What do you think?
I think you guys should go to Wild South's Facebook page and look at some of the pictures that we have that we caught on
Trail
camera.
cams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen in person a black leopard here with my own eyes.
What?
In person.
Yeah? Where at?
In the mines at Uniman.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Really.
It's an interesting place for it to be.
Yep. And it was, I mean, I saw it with my own eyes.
You have a picture?
No, I don't.
No.
That was years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Wow.
That was like
Where at? In Red Hill?
No, at Quartz Plant. They're 226 there at Minpro.
Really?
And I was actually at the guard shack because we couldn't smoke on property. I was at the guardhouse smoking a cigarette, and it was across the road, walking back and forth at the entrance of the mine there, right next to the road. Right next to the road. And I was like, let's go in the guard shack. It walked across the road, checked us out, and then went back up the trail into the mines.
Man.
Yep.
Seriously. So, I mean, yeah, there was no doubt it was a cat.
No doubt it was a cat. Absolutely. I mean, it was within 20, 30 feet of me. It was absolutely a cat, and it was massive.
So I've never understood
it was black and spotted. It was a leopard.
Right.
It was a black panther, which is in the leopard family. But yeah,
Really?
Yeah. It had spots.
I want.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Stop.
Oh, it's my bad. I didn't even notice I was doing it.
I had to stop slapping the desk. I always get animated. So is a black leopard? Is that a variation of a mountain lion? Is it?
No,
there's a completely different species.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're more like it's a black panther, but it's more akin to a leopard than it is a mountain lion.
I got you. Wow, that's crazy.
You know, you were talking about favorite hikes and all of that. I will say one of my favorite times to hike around here is after a fresh snow, especially if it's been kind of warm recently, because you'll see all kinds of animal tracks that
I bet.
you never see, during the day when you're hiking, but they're there because you can see their footprints in the snow.
Wow.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I would imagine if you had to do a lot of hiking, you become pretty familiar with prints and things like that, right? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was at a job site of mine the other day, and I saw a bear print, dude. Whatever bear that's carrying around mitts like that. Let me tell you something, brother. That thing is a monster. That must be a monster. I've never seen a bear print that big. It was that big. I mean, it was huge. You know, normally the ones that get curious, the old ones have learned.
Yeah.
You don't go around people. You know, it's the young ones that get curious and get into your stuff and all that type of stuff. But
when I lived in Johnson City, I was pulling out of where my apartments were, and I saw a massive. I mean, it was easily as big as you're describing. Black bear barrel across University Parkway, the 4-lane there, and like almost destroy a Miata. Like the bear was bigger than the car. I was like, holy shit!
I hit a bear. I hit and unfortunately killed a juvenile bear right there at Minpro.
Really?
At mine, yeah.
Oh, man.
Last year, I know. It jumped off the bank. I mean, that thing was booking it too.
Yeah.
I didn't have a second to react. I basically did this just a little bit, and it hit the iron bumper of my truck. But I mean, even that bumper is like steel, like thick steel. It's a work truck.
Right.
I mean, so it's not just a little car, like a plastic bumper. It bent that steel back probably about 1.5 inches. Wow. Just from hitting a juvenile. I mean, it was obviously a juvenile, probably like a, second year maybe or something like that.
Chase, how fast were you going?
Yeah, I was going the speed limit, man.
That's what we'll say.
Reminds me, I saw something recently. Like, I was like walking like downtown Spruce Pine. There was like, I don't know what you call it, like a drain or whatever. It was like some metal thing.
Yeah.
And there was like a big paw print on it, and I have no idea what it is.
Really?
Like, if I can pull it, I think I have a photo of it on here. If I pull
Really?
it up.
Oh, that's cool. But I mean, you see them downtown in Spruce Pine all the time. I'll see there's a bear in English Woods. There's a family that lives in there somewhere.
You know, as much as I've been hiking, the biggest bear I've ever seen was just beside Little Switzerland Inn in one of their trash cans.
Really? Apparently, those are huge. Laura talks about those all the time. She almost hit the
fattest bear I've ever seen.
If they find a source of trash and stuff, they'll just stick around.
Yeah.
They'll just stick around.
We have a family of coyotes that live within the gates of Sibelco, the schoolhouse plant, and we see them all the time. And they're huge.
Yeah, they're. I've heard out on Dale Road. I've heard the yipping and yapping before. Laura, this is last night. I was on the phone with Laura, and she was outside, and she's back at her mom's house out there on Dale Road.
Yeah.
I could hear it on the phone. She's like, "You hear that?" And it's like, woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
They must have been real close. But yeah.
I live right in town, and I hear them behind my house.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
My God.
So what we have here is actually like a coy wolf. They're a hybrid breed of coyote and wolves.
Really? That's crazy.
Yep.
What's up, Rowdy?
Yeah, I found the photo I was talking about here.
Oh, wow. That is a pretty big print.
If I show it to the camera.
There you go.
I have no idea, like, what animal species out there that could cause that.
Oh, somebody could identify it, I'm sure. Not I, though.
No, I
And
don't
like
know.
whatever it is, how the hell did it get down there?
Who knows? Who knows?
Animals are pretty clever. They can get most places they want to go.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I saw somebody post a picture of a bobcat walking down Locust Avenue one day, or Locust Street, or whatever it is, that lower street, right? Yeah.
Yep.
You should see Florida. They just have like alligators and like golf courses.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's funny how wildlife interacts with the further we encroach into their stuff. It's so funny.
Well, how domesticated they can get too.
I've Jimmy has talked about doing like a Hellbender festival at some point.
Yeah.
I would love that.
That would be awesome.
Really cool.
That would be really
You
cool.
ever caught one of those?
Yeah. Actually, I worked with Blue Ridge RC&D when they were doing a stream diversion. So there was too much sediment coming off of a roadway locally. I'm not going to say where it was just in case, but it was in town that they were diverting the stream, and we had to go out and relocate a hellbender. We actually found the hellbender and its eggs.
Cool.
So I also have pictures of that. It was amazing. It's like these little dinosaurs and these little jelly eggs. I'd never seen the eggs before.
Wow,
So
that's
it's
crazy.
Really neat. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people live their whole life around here and never see one.
Yeah.
I remember the first time my dad and me were fishing on Crabtree. If you go, not like you're going up towards Little Switzerland, down there at Young's Mountain Music, go back in there. My grandmother has a house back there.
Yeah.
well, not my grandmother. It was my dad's grandmother. Her old house was back in there, but
Right.
we were way up the creek up in there, and Dad, we pulled out a huge one. I mean, it was a monster.
Yeah, they are pretty neat.
Yeah, it's
to
pretty
watch.
cool.
Especially when you see them coming up on the banks. You know,
I've never seen one in person.
Oh,
never
really?
seen one in life. Yeah.
Really?
Oh man.
Yep.
That was cool. I've never caught one or seen one since then.
Yeah.
So I know they're critically endangered, though. I think so. That'd be cool to do, like something like that. Have a festival focus on the conservation part of it. Plus, you know, it's bringing eyes on stuff like that. I think for good causes.
Well,
you
and
know?
also educating people on it too. You know, a couple years ago, I worked with the hemlocks, Carolina hemlocks, because someone had put up a flyer up there saying that they were poisonous and encouraging people to kill them. So we found a couple up there just below the Carolina hemlocks that looked like they had some kind of markings where they might have been, you know, had a rock thrown on them or something.
Wow.
So we worked with some of the biologists from Appalachian State University who got them and studied them, and we helped, you know, spread some educational material saying that they're not poisonous, they're okay, leave them alone, they'll leave you alone, kind of.
I wonder where that comes from. That they're poisonous.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why would you actively encourage to kill an animal? Except for mosquitoes. I always find that funny. Like, mosquitoes are like the one like species that humans, like every other species, humans are like.
Mosquitoes are the
Humans
one.
are like, yeah, don't kill them. They're fine. They have like a life to live. They help the environment.
Right.
And mosquitoes are like, nah, kill them all.
Mosquitoes kill more humans than any other animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the face of the planet.
I
Yep.
thought it
Making
was
me
just like
itch talking
I
about
thought it was just like
I know. I know.
Well, not in America, but like in third world countries, you're talking about, you know, malaria. I mean, they carry a myriad of different diseases, and they carry other diseases between humans because they suck your blood, basically.
Yep.
So if it lights on somebody that's got something, and then comes and lights on you, there's a chance you get that, you know. So it just spreads like wildfire. That's the reason
They are the deadliest animal in the world.
Yeah, deadliest.
Like, I wasn't exaggerating when I said that earlier. Like, legit, there's been like organizations out there trying to literally kill all mosquitoes, just eradicate them.
Well, I don't think you can do that. I guess they do probably serve some sort of purpose, don't they?
I don't know. I'm sure they.
I mean, probably.
When I get to the great beyond, I'm going to ask God some questions about this.
I have a few questions here
I got a few questions
about these animals.
Right. What were you thinking on that day?
I mean, when you really think about it, what was God thinking when He made humans?
Oh, Ryder, we're not getting off into that, brother. We're not getting on. Let's stay on topic here.
I know, but think about it. There's like weird flesh people thingies.
Yeah.
We're meat robots. It's pretty awesome.
Exactly. Exactly.
Conscious meat robots. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Ryder's trying to take us off into the real philosophical areas. But,
Theological stuff.
yeah, theological stuff. All right.
So I'm not even supposed to be talking on this podcast. You guys good to
Yeah, you're good, buddy. You're good. Thanks for helping us out, man.
No, dude, you're doing great.
You're welcome.
So, what you got any plans? Does Wild South got any plans to expand? Like, I mean, I'm sure you're probably always looking to grow, but you know.
Certainly, I wish that we could, but like I said, it all goes back to we rely on grants and private donations just to stay afloat. So other than adding in a youth crew next season, that's really our only goal of expansion currently. Right now, we have 3 personnel, so it's a director, an associate director, and myself. Our associate director only works a few hours every week doing payroll, and our director and I kind of handle everything else. So really, it's kind of like a 2-person show doing all the programs that we do. And so we do at least a couple work days every week. So he's running programs in Linville Gorge. I'm running programs in Unaka Mountain. So 2 people hosting 2 work days every week is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite a bit.
We're both kind of tapped out, and I think anyone that's ever worked for a nonprofit will understand this, how many hats that you have to wear.
Sure.
So we're all pulling,
Sure.
Double duty on everything.
Well, if somebody wanted to donate, where could they go to do that?
On our website, wildsouth.org. So we have a supporter link there where you can go in and make a donation.
I'm going to link that right now.
Yeah. And then also just coming out too. If anyone wants to get involved, like I said, I do a weekly work day
Okay.
in Unaka or on the Nolichucky. That's my program. So every week I'm at one of those locations.
Nice.
So if anyone wants to get involved in that, they can email me. My email is Halley, Halley, at wildsouth.org. And basically any correspondence that go to Wild South come to me.
Yeah.
Goes back to the wearing multiple hats. So if you go on the website and send an inquiry, it's coming to me anyway.
Gotcha. Oh, goodness. Well, Josh?
Yeah. I'm linking the website here.
People just don't understand.
People just don't understand. Thank you so much.
I think this is an awesome thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
I really, and I going back, I'm glad you mentioned that about the conservancy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it has such a, like, again, I don't know, I want to say it's a negative connotation, but people are always very suspicious about it. And
it definitely has a negative reputation in rural areas.
Yeah.
Land conservation especially.
Yeah.
Like animal conservation, people really don't bat an eye at, but land conservation...
They took our land.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that's really not what we are, actually.
Right.
You know, Wild South's mission statement is inspiring individuals to enjoy, value, and protect the wild character and natural legacy of their South. So our whole mission statement revolves around getting other people involved, you know, to be a part of it for the future generations. So we're not we're not one of those conservation organizations, but we get roped in with them.
Right.
Categorized as that.
But I think conservation is critical, though. I mean, it's critical because if left to its own devices, we'll overrun everything. I feel like.
Yep.
I think it's critical, but there's enough. You know, there's enough to go around.
Sure.
And when it's managed properly, i.e., through organizations like yours, you know, I think that it's a wonderful thing, and I think we need more of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, I really do.
But if you want people to love it and appreciate it, you have to let them access it too, you know?
Yeah.
So that they can actually know what it's all about.
Right.
So there has to be a balance there. Has to be a little give and take on each end.
Sure.
Well, thanks so much for coming.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been
Thanks
fun.
for all the help, Ryder.
Ryder, you've done great, man. You've done
You
great.
did really good.
Yeah, no, it's so, like, again, one of the coolest things, just having people that we grew up with come through. And just get to revisit and
get to know what people are doing and get to know what you're up to. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys again.
You too.
So if we ever want to find you, we'll just have to come out to the wilderness, huh?
Yeah,
Yep.
you can come there. You can come to my office. You have to call if you want to come to the office, though.
I was
Cause,
expecting this to last longer, honestly.
well, you know, I'm old, Ryder, and I have a bedtime.
Yeah, exactly. When it's me and Josh and Jamie, we can drone on for hours and hours about nothing and all things at once.
At once. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this. We will be back next week. So we are through the summer until things kind of calm down. We're only going to do one show per week. We got 2 shows per week there for a while. Got pretty wild. You know, Chase and I and Jimmy, all of us have busy lives outside of this. So we're going to adjust accordingly. But we're still going to bring you guys some awesome content. And thank you so much for your support this far. It's been overwhelmingly positive and amazing. And we're just very grateful that people find this interesting and like to watch us. So.
And we got some really cool things in the works. Maybe some live stuff, doing from a different location.
Yep.
Mr. Ryder started helping us out with some shorts, so he's just got started on that, doing the first episode that we did with Alex.
They're going to be...
So be look for that. That'll be cool. All you young folks that love the short video format.
Have the attention span of a tumbleweed.
Exactly. And like to draw wieners on stuff. That's what shorts are for.
Double booster rockets.
Double booster rockets.
Full circle.
Exactly. Come full circle.
Thanks again. We love you all. Until next time. Peace out.
Peace.
Hit intro.